Hey traders, how are you doing today? Today is Sunday, and today is my day of rest and research. This is the day when most markets aren't open, or even in the crypto space, they're very, very slow. So I take the time to actually develop and look at new strategies, and that's what I want to go over today. I want to teach people how to fish rather than just give you a fish, as it were. And what I mean by that is we're going to go over making an indicator in TradingView. This is the process that I will go through when I have an inspiration to test something out, some sort of pattern, some sort of phenomenon of price. And what I want to do is I want the chart to show me this specific thing. And where I got inspired from this was from a podcast YouTube channel called Desire to Trade, and I think that's run by a gentleman named Etienne Crane. And so look that up on YouTube, or I think he's actually on Instagram as well. I think that's how you spell his name. So what he was showing in one of these podcasts was he was using a Bollinger Band. I know that. I know it when I see it. And he would have arrows pointing to where it would hit the top of the range. But I noticed something just from my trained eye, what he was looking for with these indicators. It was where price had closed outside of the Bollinger Band and then closed back inside of it on the next bar. So my apologies if I'm giving away the secret, but that's what it is. And it's not really all that, mysterious. I'm just able to see that from, looking at enough Bollinger Bands. But I wanted to have the indicator for myself so I could play with it, maybe optimize it to see, is this a good signal? Can I use this? So if you bear with me, I'm going to go through the whole process of start to finish from scratch and all the trials and tribulations. So this may be a little bit of a long video, but hopefully folks can learn from it. So let's start in the Pine editor. Now, what you can do is you can go into the indicators and search for Bollinger Band and bring it up and add to the chart. I've already added it here, but in all the built-in indicators in TradingView, you can actually get the source code by just holding your mouse over and clicking on the brackets right here, and that's going to give you the source code. So you can actually use this as your basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a copy. And let's name it Bollinger Testing. Okay. So we're going to save that. Now we can actually edit it. Okay. So we've got our basis here. We can actually remove the Bollinger Band and add our testing to the chart, and boom, we have the same thing. So let's go through the basics. So the version 4, that's what we're on right now. That's basically for the TradingView Pine script. We'll call this BB testing. That's the short name. That's what's going to show up in the letters right here. Don't want it to be too long. We'll leave that for the Bollinger Bands testing here because we just want a little small thing to show up there. Overlay is true. That means it's going to be on the main screen, and the resolution is going to be, meaning that it's going to be based on this time frame that we're on right now. Okay, we're going to keep all of these basically by default. We're going to keep all these here. Like I said, I'm just a hacker. I'm not a programmer at heart, but I've learned enough to be dangerous. So let's go forward. All right. So what we want to do is we want to evaluate what the bars are doing, and so we can see what our signal looks like. So I'm going to start by commenting just to keep things organized. Evaluation, and we're going to say bear, which is a variable. It's going to be where the close of the bar before us is greater than the upper Bollinger Band. So in other words, this bar right here, let's just take a look at this one. This bar is definitely a signal that we want to look at. In other words, the bar closed above the Bollinger Band, but then the next bar closed below it. So if we're going to evaluate the one before the prior bar, which would be, we want the arrow, to show up on this bar right here, because that's the one that's going to actually confirm that we closed below it. So we need to evaluate the bar behind it. To do that, we're going to do a little offset. So close 1 is going to evaluate the bar before us. And then that needs to be above what is our Bollinger Band, our upper Bollinger Band, which that's the variable right here, upper. So close above upper. And, which is another logic, the close, the current close, needs to be below the upper. Okay, see, I've already made a little mistake here because remember, we have to evaluate the bar behind, so I'm going to go back and add that. Caught that before we did the compile. And then for the bullish is going to be the reverse. So close, again, offset is going to be less than lower from the last bar. And close is going to be of the lower. So that is going to be our valuation. And now what we have to do is we have to have it show it to us. And what I'm going to use for that is plot shape. I got to refresh myself here, but I know that plot shape, we basically begin by saying, is it true or not? And so what we can do for that without having to say, we don't have to say bear is true or bull is true. We can just say bear. In other words, if we type in this first for the evaluation, that's going to be true, then that's going to be a Boolean true. And then our style, what I want it to be is shape dot triangle down. Now, if you're wondering what the different shapes are that we can use, that's where Google is your friend. So I don't know if I can show this here on mine, but I'll just tell you how to do it. What you want to do is you want to Google, specifically either Tradingview, if I can spell, or Pine script, which is the name of the language, plot shape. And then what that's going to take you to is a page that will give you a list of all the different things that you can use for it. And so that's one way to come up with that. Yeah, that's gonna get us to here. All right, so we got style triangle down. So that's going to put it on that one. And then we need for the bullish one. So plot shape bull style shape dot triangle up. Okay. All right. Now we're ready to see if this actually shows us what we want to do. So let's hit save. And hopefully down here we don't get any red. Okay, boom. All right. So, all right. Yep. We're getting a bunch of these little blue arrows right here. Okay. So that's good. But we also have a little problem here with this one because that one's actually, we want this to be below the bar. So that is another thing that we need to put in here. So let's do that. Also, for plot shape, you have a location. And then for the bearish ones, we want to do location dot above bar. And while we're at it, let's just color it. So color, because it's bearish, bearish is red. So color dot red. All right. Be quick and dirty. Copy, paste, and then just change these. Low bar. Green. All right, let's see how that looks. There we go. Okay. One thing about it is I don't like how tiny they are. So let's see. There's a bunch of different, again, you can look this up on the list, but let's do size is equal to size dot normal and see if that brings it up a little bit. In size the way we want it to look for personal preference. Oh, that's too big. How about size tiny? Let's go down a little bit. I like that. That looks good. Okay. That looks nice and well shaped for it. All right. And just to kind of clean things up a little bit, one thing we can do is move this to the next line. Here's the trick. Took me a while to figure this out. Enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tab does not work for some reason. That might trigger some programmers, but it's basically enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just to make sure that that didn't, there we go. Okay. So let's take a step back and let's look. Well, if we look at our indicator that we have right now, we've got it doing what we wanted it to do. But man, does it trigger a lot of different times. And if we're thinking about this as a trading signal, like if we went short here, that's not really necessarily a good thing because I mean we probably would have gotten stopped out even if it went. And in this move up right here, that's looking kind of gross. There's a lot of false signals in here. So we got to filter these out. And this is the process of coming up with a trading system, an indicator that actually does work. We can't just go jumping in. And this is why it's also very hard to make a black box automated strategy because you really have to tune it to give you good signals, but you can't overtune it where it gives you no signals. So we need to filter by at least one other indicator. And that indicator can be of any of the different types. It can be a trending one, it can be a overextension one. But since we're really trying to capture reversals, that's the gist of this, because it's coming to the top of the band or the lower of the band, and we want to catch a reversal. Let's look at some sort of a uh, overextension indicator, and for that, what we can look for is like a stochastic or a stochastic RSI, which some of you may be familiar with. So, stock, and yeah, let's bring up the TradingView stochastic RSI right here, and let's just take a look and see. All right, so if we had a signal here, as we do, which was not initially a good one, the stochastic was not yet outside of the band here. And so we want to look for extremes. In other words, we want to look for the stochastic to be above the bands or below if it's a bullish case. And if we look at this one in particular, this one right here actually fit that criteria. So we could have filtered out these two back here, which were definitely not good signals. Where's my X? There's my X. These are not good signals. And if we look, they were still within the band right here. So immediately, if we started to incorporate the stochastic, we could actually start to filter out some of these bad signals and maybe only look for the good. So what we can do again is we can bring up the source code and let's copy that out. Let's copy out the whole thing for now. And what you need to do is bring up a little notepad. I'm going to paste it over there for myself. All right. And then let's go back to our uh, testing. Okay. So let's create ourselves some new lines here. So we're going to call this the stochastic code area, and just to kind of keep things separate. Let's do this. Um, that's the Bollinger code. Some of these inputs may be a lot of the same. So we don't need to copy in the study. We just need the basic code. And one of the things you may notice, let me just copy and note this. So we'll just do this. So we definitely don't need the version marker, and we don't need the study title. And we have to remember that um, we don't have the overlay true here, which means what that does is that makes it create a new window here at the bottom. And we're going to basically have this code working in the back end. We don't need to see stochastic RSI with our indicator. We can just leave it added here with the stock one. So let's just go ahead and take that off. And because we don't need to see it because we already have it, we can go ahead and take off the plots and everything below it because these are the things that actually plot the lines. And these actually draw the bands, and this fill does that color. So we can take all that out. So now we just have the code. We look for any redundancies. Okay, so the source of the data is going to be the close. So we don't need that anymore. And we can clean this up a little bit later. These inputs may be all over the place, but let's just get it working. Okay, so let's just save this and make sure we don't have any problems. Okay, it's not doing anything. We got in here. It's not kicking off any bad stuff. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to add to our evaluations. So let's add a new line because we're doing for the stochastics. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And K, which is going to be our, I don't know which one it is. It's either the blue or the orange. We're going to do both of them. K is greater than 80, and D is greater than 80. And that's going to mean in a bearish case, the lines are both going to be above 80. And for the bullish case, oh, actually, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess we can do a tab and a space, but that's just how I do it. K less than 20, and D is less than 20. Okay, let's see. All right, we did filter out these two bad ones right here, but and we got this one right here, but we're still getting a bunch of false signals. Okay, so that's okay. Um, we can use other indicators or price action here, but there's one other thing we can do to really make this work better for us. One thing we need to realize is that we're really trying to evaluate the last bar. Um, what's going on here? This doesn't look right. Why is that showing up as there? Where's the close of that bar is 163. Oh, it is actually closing inside of it. Okay. Yep, it doesn't look like it, but it is. Okay. So let's look at a few of our good ones and let's see what really separates our good ones from the bad ones. This is the process. So this one looks like a good one, and this one looks like a good one. And then let's look and see what are our indicators telling us here. Like what are the RSI values here? Okay, so the RSI on this one right here is 189. We're looking at down here when I hold my mouse over it. And then this one right here, the RSI is 1894 and 811. What about the one before it? Okay, so that's 5.4 and 4.55. Okay. What about the one before this one? 90 and 76.8. This one right here. Again, these are both pretty high. This one right here, the one before it was pretty low. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so we're again, some of these that are looking pretty good are really rather low. Okay, so we can actually start playing around with this a little bit. Like we're using 80 and 20 as our indicator, but let's mess around with this a little bit. What if we went over 90? If we do that, we're going to filter out a lot of these that are not quite as extreme. 90 and 20 and 10. And really and truly, what we want to evaluate is we want to evaluate the one prior to the one that comes back into the range. So I think we need to offset this as well. So let's look at this. Let's look at the one before and evaluate that. Oh, some of them went away. And we kept this one right here, which looks like a good one. And we kept this one right here, which actually looks like a good one as well. We got rid of this one. So when you start to filter by more extremes, you're going to miss out on a few of them. But the key is to get good signals. That's really the key. Still got a couple of these coming through this trend here, but we eliminated a lot of them. This one looks pretty good. Stop below the last low would have been okay to keep us in. A lot of false positives here, but that's okay. We can keep playing around with this. Actually, we can keep going up and filtering more and more out. But that's getting really deep into the weeds. And maybe we want to add another indicator to it. Or what would be even better, instead of going back to our code, let's do one little bit more cleanup right here. So uh, let's say upper limit to input. So we probably should have done from the beginning. Input, we'll say 90 We'll call this the upper limit.